Basically, we were saying that we believe that God is racist because of the definition of racism. Racism is basically being prejudiced against somebody because of their nation or their ethnicity.
You should not lend upon usury to your brother, usury of money, usury of victuals. Unto a stranger you may lend upon usury. The reason why he brought this verse up, because we're not talking about skin color. I read racism in the etymology. It says advocating superiority and exclusive rights based on race.
It's important to understand, ancient Israel, what's going on there. You're trying to have a nation state, so it's a theocracy. So you have decided financial measures taken to provide for Israel's security that are specific to that nation within their language, culture, and borders. And so there's one rule, just like even in the United States, there would be different rules for citizens versus people who are passing through on work visas or any other kind of temporary stay or migrants, whether they're waiting or applying. So there's different rules in place, right? Same thing with ancient Israel. So you notice that interest is allowed for outsiders. That's what he's going to go to. Interest is allowed you're allowed to charge that for outsiders. But what is interesting is you don't see the allowance of doing things like using unequal weights or measures for outsiders, meaning you can't do something immoral to them. So the concept of interest in and of itself is not a sin, but the idea is how do you apply it for the security of your nation? And so within Israel, they did have things such as what are called secured loans. Because if you look at the scripture, you'll find that there's a garment that Exodus prohibits being allowed to use as security, because this large cloth square apparently is what the poor would use to sleep with, so they would need it. So they're not allowed to use certain elements for secured loans. But my point is, secured loans, they're allowed to have those for Israelites as well. In and of itself, interest is not a sin, and it makes sense why Israel would have financial rules that would benefit their nation. Every nation does that. That in and of itself is not sin. The question is, are you allowed to lie, cheat, or steal towards outsiders? That's a different question, and that's where you get into the sin of favoritism. The Bible never uses the word race. The Bible never uses the word racism. It does use the word favoritism, the sin of partiality, if you want to say what James is saying. And you also have a situation where the Bible uses terms like nation, tribe, and tongue, which is much closer to the concept of ethnicity or culture than race, which... Of course, race is a word that doesn't even appear, according to the Oxford, until the 1500s. So it's clearly not a biblical word in the most literal sense. The question is it really even a biblical concept? Unless you're talking about the race of Adam, I would say no. So we're using an unbiblical concept to then say something is in the Bible that's also unbiblical.